Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Amin bin Abu Bakar. My matric number is 1181537. Today, I and my fellow friends were going to present to you our research, which is network devices, and we chose fiber optic as our topic on this research. So before we go deeply in this topic, firstly, I'm gonna introduce to you guys what is actually fiber optic. So the first one is, what is the definition of fiber optic? Fiber optic is the technology used to transmit information as pulses of light through strands of fiber made of glass or plastic over long distances. So with this definition, we know that fiber optic is one of technology we use to transmit info, and this technology is very fast as light, as pulses of light, and the strands of fiber is made from glass or plastic, and it can transmit over long distances, and it's very good. Uh, then the second point is it used in telecommunication services such as internet, telephones, and televisions. So as we can look right now, as we all know, there are several companies provided this fiber optic, such as for instance, Maxis, Cellcom. They provided us Maxis home fiber, or Cellcom home fiber, and this Wi-Fi, this we call as Unify, is very fast than the other Wi-Fi. And also, TM also provide us Unify, and it use fiber optic. Then it transfers data in the form of light over long distances and faster than electrical cables. As I explained just now, this is very fast than the traditional cables. So the cables are non-metallic and not affected by electromagnetic interference. So this is very good because it's safe. If we use this, because it is not affected by weather, by rain, or so the last one is, there are two types of fiber optic. So the first one is FTTH and FTT. So the second, FTTC. So what is FTTH? FTTH is fiber to the home, and it is the fastest cables, because the cable installed directly into the buildings. So the second one is FTTC. FTTC is fiber to the curb, and this is partial fiber connection, because it runs to the curb near homes, and copper cables carry the signals from the curb into the home. Alright, so next we move to why we choose this issue. So as all we know, fiber optical services has been went viral in Malaysia lately, and regarding to MCO situation, now is highly demand in society, because most of us work from home. So the second one is, we want to identify the advantages of optical fiber, and then the last one is, we should identify the solutions of problems come from optical fiber. So that's all from me. Bye bye.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Abdul Aziz bin Mahmood, network number 1181539. So I will continue our part objective from our topic, fiber optic. The objective of our research is, number one, to identify the factors of fiber optic use that are now increasing in society. Second, to understand how fiber optic works and become the choice of the public. Third, to gauge the effectiveness of fiber optic internet over traditional cable internet. And last one, to uncover the pros and cons of fiber optic use. Next, we turn to findings from the issues of fiber optic. Now we see fiber optic internet versus cable internet. So we will see the difference about fiber optic internet with standard cable internet. So number one, we look into the structure. Fiber internet connection is transmitted using fiber optic cable. Fiber optic internet cable contains plastic or glass that transmit modulate light. By the way, cable internet use the same technology as cable television. It uses a coaxial cable to transmit data. This cable contains a copper core that is insulated with aluminium, a copper shield, and an outer plastic layer. Next, we look to the availability of fiber versus cable. Firstly, fiber internet connections are not as easily accessible as cable internet. True, they are certainly more available than they used to be. Fiber may be difficult to obtain for business in remote areas, but it is ideal for larger metropolitan locations. Then we look, cable network are easily accessible and available just about everywhere. It is about 89% coverage nationwide. Next, we look into the reliability of fiber versus cable. Firstly, fiber and cable internet connection are almost equally reliable. If you use cable internet, you may need a backup internet source if you live in an area with frequent cable interruption and electricity outage. But fiber optic internet access does not experience interruption from electricity disruptions. So we look that fiber is more reliable. Next, we look the speed between fiber and cable. Fiber optic internet is faster compared to the cable network. Many people can access the fiber network at the same time without affecting the overall performance. By the way, the speed of the cable internet network is slower, especially during peak hour. So we see that fiber optic is more speed than standard cable internet. And the last one, we look the cost. The fiber optic internet cost can be more expensive, depends on the usage, the speed of the internet that we want, and the location. And then cable internet connection was quite a bit cheaper than a fiber internet connection. So if we want a better connection, we use fiber optic, but it will take some cost rather than cable internet connection, which is cheaper. So then we look into the finding that we found that problem that may arise if we use fiber optic cable. So number one, it is difficult to detect broken or damaged fiber cable. Second, it is quite hard to looking for suitable connectors. Third, we may cause length problem of the cable. For the stretching problem of the cable. And 5, we may face external damage. So that is some problem that may arise if we use fiber optic. So we will look how the solution from this problem in the next part. So that's all from me. Thank you.
My name is Ahmad Huzaifee with Izanee. My metric number is 1181536, and now we're going through observation. Okay, fiber optic cable has been used by numerous Ethernet users because of its performance. There are some advantages of optical fiber cables that makes it so powerful and outperform traditional cables. Look, there are 5, which is bandwidth, speed, distance, protection, and safety. Okay, we go to the first one, which is the bandwidth and data transfer. Bandwidth and data transfer from it is much wider and offers more advanced bandwidth limit compared to the older metal data cables. It can transfer bandwidth for mass data as many modern applications now demand. The second one is speed. Fiber optic uses light pulses as the primary source of information conveyance, gives fiber optic cable a huge speed advantage when compared to other modes of data transfer. Fiber will far outstrip the expected performance of even high-grade C85 or C86 copper cables in this regard. Next, we got the distance. The distance it can travel is much longer than traditional cabling types due to their low rate of signal power loss. Copper cables are usually cited as having a 328-foot limitation in terms of decent quality transfer distance. By contrast, certain single fiber optics can carry a signal over hundreds of kilometers given the right combination of materials, signal type, which is wavelength, and network setup. Next, we got the protection, which is the fourth. Fiber optic provides a significantly greater protection from interference than the traditional metal cable types because they don't physically carry an electrical signal. This further boosts their ability to transfer data quickly over much longer distance without suffering significant signal degradation. Well, last but not least, fiber optic cables provide more safety and reliable cable than the traditional ones. Another difference between optical fiber and copper cable is that the glass versions tend to be much thinner, lighter, and yet sturdier, making them able to withstand much greater pull forces and thus less likely to suffer damage or breakage across long runs than equivalent lengths of metal cabling. Fiber isn't affected by inclement weather, moisture, or extremes of temperature to nearly the same extent that metal wiring can be. And furthermore, the fact that glass fibers don't carry a current means that they don't present a fire hazard, even when damaged or aging. Okay, now after the disadvantages, these are a few suggestions to overcome or to solve the problem. Okay, the first one is use a fiber optic tracer. Fiber damage can be solved by using this, which is a tracer can be utilized to trace any faults within the cable. Its operation principle just like a miniature flashlight that uses an LED and can be fitted to the cable connector for the purpose of checking continuity. If the fiber are all complete and not damaged, you can see the light from the two ends the cable is shown. Next is connector suitability. Before you use the fiber cable, you should check each of the connectors to see if they will well fitted or not. If not, it is necessary for you to rectify it by inserting them properly. If the issue still happens, you can replace the cable by a cable of spring-loaded connectors. In that way, connectors would fit in the cable securely and would not slip out. The third length problem is something that can be solved easily because almost every store provides different cable lengths for meeting the requirement of various length demand. Especially the online store, they still offer the service of customizing and you can get the exact cable length according to your actual demand. Before you look through the online cable store, it is essential for you to get your optimal needing length by using a measuring tape. You can position all the equipment that you intend to connect with the cable and then measure the distance of them and get the approximate length. The fourth suggestion is for the stretching problem can be prevented by moving the cables closer or buying an additional cable for proper length. There is another case would cause stretching. Sometimes it just occurs when you're pulling at the jacket of the cable. You should use the grips at the connectors designed to be used to fit and remove them. Finally, the external damage can be solved during inspection. If you find any prominent defect occurs, such as splits or scratches, then please, replace the cable. As for conclusion, fiber optic technology has been used in many fields of telecommunication, photonics, medicine, and engineering. This has attracted many researchers because of its performance, low loss, uninterrupted, higher bandwidth, and high data carrying capabilities. Although fiber optics has many advantages, there's still some disadvantages associated with fiber optic technology. One of the disadvantages of fiber optics is that although there are many natural materials for the construction of sandy fiber optics, such as fibers are more expensive when compared to copper cables. Other than disadvantages, a highly skilled workforce is required for fiber optic installation. That's all from us. Thank you very much for all of your attention and have a happy New Year. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.